Hi, my name is Nick Veit, and in this video I'll be demonstrating how to string the Wilson 6-1 competition tennis racket. Before we begin, I'll be going over a few of the necessary pieces of equipment to string the tennis racket. Right here we have the tennis racket stringer. This does the majority of the work. And in this box we have various tools for stringing the tennis racket, pliers, clippers, and clips. Before we begin, we have to cut the old strings out from the frame of the tennis racket. To do that, we'll be taking our clippers and starting from the middle, we'll cut the old strings and make our way out towards the edges. As you can see, the old string has been removed from the racket. The next step will be to measure out the new string. I have two types of string. This gray string will be used for the mains, and this black string will be used for the crosses. To know how much string to use, you can look it up online. They have all types of different rackets and their racket stringing patterns. And that's how you figure out how much string you'll use for each racket. So now that we have all the string measured out, we're going to begin by locking the tennis racket into the machine. This is done by putting them in between these two yellow pieces and centering the racket. And then once the racket is centered, you can adjust the length of each yellow piece to make sure that it's in position. This part right here will help you adjust the amount of tension in your racket. A lower tension in your racket will allow more control, and a higher tension will allow more power. Depending on the person, that can vary. So by adjusting this, it will allow different tensions. To start the process, we'll be putting the main strings through the first two holes, and we'll be measuring them out evenly. So now you pull them out and make sure that they're even length. Yep. To begin, we'll put the string in the clamp, and then we'll slowly begin by dropping the weight, the counterweight, and tightening the string. You will know when the string is completely tight when the counterweight has centered the arrow on the line, and it stays there. We're then going to repeat that same process just on the other side. So after you finish tightening the strings, there are various clamps that come with either in the toolbox or they are attached to the stringer. For the attached clamps are some of the most important. So you put the clamp on the string, and it will hold the tension that you just made while you adjust the string and move it. Now after you've done 3 on both sides, you begin to do intervals of 2. So I'll be repeating the same process, but instead of doing 3 on each side then switching, we'll be doing 2 on each side then switching. So after you finish tightening all the strings, you're going to have to tie off the end of the string. By doing that, we'll be doing just a basic kind of loop knot by bringing it over the string, feeding it under, and then bringing it back through, and then looping it back through. Just like this. And then you'll be pulling it tight, and we will use the counterweight to tighten this. Usually only 1, 2, 3 knots, and then it's good. So now that I have both sides of the mains done, I'll begin the crosses. I've already measured out the string that I'll be using for the crosses. I'm going to start at the top of the racket and then go from there. Now for these crosses, I'll be beginning the cross weaving. So this part is a little bit trickier than the mains because, as you can see, when we do the crosses, we'll also have to be going through the mains. To finish up this process, I'll be tying off the crosses. As you can see, I finished moving all the crosses. There are a few more minor details that we'll touch up on, but the majority of the racket string process has been completed. I'll make this final knot, and then I can release the tension in the clamps, and it will be complete. And there you have it. Release the tension here, release the tension here. One more minor thing to do is to clip off all the excess string and make sure to leave a little bit of extra on each end, just as a safety precaution. Also, it's good to straighten out the strings. They do get a little bit crooked. And then I can release the racket from the holders. And there you have it. The racket is strung. There you go. Just some final thoughts. I'd like to say thank you to Anthony Brunitsky, my tennis coach, for supporting me and getting me all the supplies I needed for this project. I'd like to say thank you to my mom for recording me while I did this. And I'd also like to say thank you to my brothers who have been my mentors and supported me while I learned how to string a tennis racket.